So once we start, good afternoon to all the panelists, attendees, renowned scholars, and our eminent speakers. I hope I'm audible. If someone has some issues, then please put it on the chat box. Department of Library and Information Science, AC Joshi Library, Panjab University, in collaboration with Ranganathan Research Circle, New Delhi, welcomes you all. Learning never exhausts the mind and is not attained by chance. It must be sought with ardor and attended with diligence. Capacity to learn is a gift, and ability to learn is a skill, but the willingness to learn is a choice. So, considering our choice today, let's begin our path to learn something. Library to me is our connection to the past and our path to the better future. Librarians, who are the original search engines, while Google can give you 100,000 results or even more at times, a librarian brings back the right one, which is more important. Today, when we have entered into a digital age, let's take this opportunity to understand the future of librarianship in a digital-driven era, which is the topic of today's webinar. I request Dr. Javesh Bansal, who is currently working at our very own AC Joshi Library, Panjab University, to speak a few words. Dr. Javesh, please continue.
Neha.
Javesh?
Thank you, Neha. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Good afternoon, all of you. Today is a very auspicious day. We are celebrating birthday of Shri Krishna, who propounded the karma theory and a true karma yogi. Dr. S.R. Ranganathan, creator of philosophies and theories of library science and librarianship. So we can start. There are now. Neha, there is some disturbance.
Sir, no disturbance now. Please continue.
कर्मण्यवादी का रस्ते माँ फलेशु कदाचन माँ कर्म फल हेतु बुर्मा ते संगो अस्तव कर्मणि. This is a very important from Gita, that we should believe on our karma and we shouldn't think about what will be the fruits of that karma. Fruits will automatically will come when we will do our karmas. So this is a very important shlok from Gita, and we should always believe on this, because Gita is a epic which is accepted all over the world, and today is the birthday of Sri Krishna, and it is a coincidence that the birthday of Sri Krishna and Dr. S.R. Ranganathan is coincidence of the day. First of all, on behalf of AC Joshi Library, Department of Library and Information Science, and Ranganathan Research Circle, New Delhi, and my own behalf, I extend my heartiest welcome to our chief guest, Professor Ronki Ram, Dean Faculty of Arts, and Shahid Bhagat Singh, Professor of Political Science, for accepting our request to grace the occasion as chief guest despite his very busy schedule. I am feeling honored to greet library stalwart in India like Dr. S.M. Dhawan, former head NPL Library, New Delhi, Dr. R.K. Chaddha, former head Lok Sabha Library and currently associated as Professor, Malvanchal University, Indore, to deliver their talk on Librarians Day. We are happy to have Dr. Narendra Kumar, head Delhi University Library System, among us to share his views on the auspicious day. I am delighted to share dice with Dr. P.R. Goswami, former Director NASDOC and convener RRC, Professor Priti Mahajan, Chairperson DLIS PU, for accepting our request to coordinate on Librarians Day celebration. We are excited to have. No, please. I am continuing. We are excited to have you all here. LIS professionals, faculty colleagues, research scholars, and students of Library and Information Science to participate in Librarians Day celebration. Today, we all gather to celebrate 128th birth anniversary of Dr. S.R. Ranganathan. In second week of August, celebrations take place in whole India to commemorate his birth anniversary as Librarians Day by organizing various lectures, seminars, symposia, etc. Now I present a brief biosketch of Dr. S.R. Ranganathan. Dr. S.R. Ranganathan, in full, Shali Ramamrita Ranganathan, was born on 9th August 1892 at Shali village in Tamil Nadu. Dr. Ranganathan was an Indian librarian and educator who is considered as father of library science on our motherland, and his contribution has worldwide influence. He was educated at the Hindu High School in Shiali and later at Madras Christian College, where he took BA and MA degrees in mathematics in 1913 and 1916, and at Teachers College, Sadapet near Chennai. In 1917, he joined the Faculty of Mathematics at Government College, Mangalore, and subsequently taught at Government College, Coimbatore in 1920 and at Presidency College, University of Madras in 1921 to 1923. In 1924, he was appointed first librarian of the University of Madras. At that time, there was no training courses like DLIS and Information Science or MLIS and Information Science, and scholars of other subjects were appointed as librarians. At Panjab University also, Dr. A.C. Woolner, a Sanskrit scholar, was appointed librarian when Mr. Asha Don Dickinson, an American librarian appointed by Panjab University Lahore, returned back in 1916. The major contributions of Mr. Asha Don Dickinson were Library Primer, and Punjab Library Association was started by Dr. Asha Don Dickinson. These are his major achievements so far. He was invited by the Panjab University Lahore and he returned back in 1916. And then A.C. Woolner, Dr. A.C. Woolner was appointed by the librarian of Panjab University. In order to fit himself for the post, Dr. Ranganathan traveled to England to study at University College London. He held the job of University Librarian at Madras University to 1944, and then he served as Librarian and Professor of Library Science at Banaras Hindu University from 1945 to 47, and later from 1947 to 54. He taught at the University of Delhi. During 1954 to 57, he was engaged in research and writing in Zurich. He returned to India in the later year and served as visiting professor at Vikram University, Ujjain until 1959. In 1962, he founded and became head of the Documentation Research and Training Center in Bangalore, with which he remained associated for the rest of his life. And in 1965, he was honored by the Indian government with the title of National Research Professor in Library Science. The Government of India awarded Padma Shri to Dr. S.R. Ranganathan in 1957 for valuable contribution to library science. He died on 27th September 1972 at Bangalore at the age of 80. Although he touched all areas of library science, we all know that classified catalog and reference service, there is a book by him on reference service. Almost he touched all areas of library science, but his main contribution to library science were in classification and indexing theory. His colon classification, started by him in 1933, introduced a system that is widely used in research libraries around the world, and that has affected the evolution of such older system as the David decimal classification. During his last days, Dr. Ranganathan was working on 7th edition of colon classification, DRTC, after his death, because the edition was released but the index was not released at the time of his death. After his death, DRTC published index of colon classification. But later on, the colon classification has lost its relevance due to growing universe of knowledge and not updated version of the scheme. Professor M.A. Gopinath and many more were closely associated with Ranganathan at DRTC. His theory of classification, which is all documented in Prolegomena to Libraries Classification, because all are library professionals here, so all we know that there is a very A classic book in library classification that is probably common to library classification is world famous and has relevance for all streams of library classification. Before that, there was no theory of classification. All the classification schemes were based on numerical numbers. We all know that David decimal classification, that Library of Congress, that are all depend on numerical numbers, a pure system of notation and principles of literary warrant to provide a simple system of classification to libraries and helpful for users to understand. So, this is all about Dr. S.R. Ramanathan. So, with these words, I give rest to my over to Neha.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Jivesh. Now, before we commence today's talk, I would request all the participants to maintain a decorum and ask your questions via the question answers options available on the screen instead of the chat box. Furthermore, you kindly don't write down greeting messages such as good morning and good evening because they create disturbance for the speaker. Thank you for your cooperation, and all the panelists, I would request you to just unmute yourself when you're talking to over here. Now, for our chief guest today, we have Professor Ramki Ram. I would like to extend a warm welcome to him. He's a Senate member at Panjab University and Dean Faculty of Arts. He's Bhagat Singh Chair Professor and is working at the Department of Political Science. He's widely revered and a world-renowned professor who is eminent in his field of work. I would request him to give his presidential address. Professor Ramki Ram, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Siki. I'll join also Chairperson of Department of Library Science and Information, Professor P.T. Mahajan, and Librarian in Chief, Dr. Jivesh Johnson, welcoming all the panelists. On the behalf of my university, my own behalf, on behalf of our Vice Chancellors and the DUI. This is a great occasion to celebrate the birthday anniversary of such a towering personality who brought to us not only but the whole the world a meaningful system of classification at a time when India was just growing in terms of building its education institutions. And he visited England and studied the system, classification system. And he found a fault in that. And he thought that a better system should be evolved. Because he thought that university libraries, college libraries, public libraries are the only places which would help spread knowledge, disseminate information. But in order to disseminate information, spread knowledge, there must be certain ways of, there should be a systematic way of, making your knowledge available in the society, to your colleagues, and the world over. So in this case, he was thinking about how a library should be maintained. So that was a great task to a mind who was trained in physics, who was trained in mathematics. So he thought that, first of all, we must understand that the books which we want to keep in our libraries, that are to be kept not in a way as we are stocking the things, haphazardly. We have to keep it in a way, that knowledge is multiplying. Or we find it that often in our libraries, we want to find a space to locate the latest titles which we are receiving. And at the same time, the classicals which we have with us, the classical works which we have with us, are also becoming too many to assign them a proper place. So keeping this in mind, he thought that we must follow certain principles. The first principles which he said, that the books are for use. That we try to convey, and everyone related with the library subjects, library science and information studies, they must know that books are for use. So in order to make books to be properly used, they should be put in a proper place. So here starts the real task of proper classification. And it said every reader but we say that we trying to understand that we can't make our library on the basis of what books are regularly frequently read, what books are more in circulation. He said we should not do this. We can't say that the book which is today read, may also be read tomorrow and the day after. So the books which has not been read in the last few months is of no use. He said we can't do this. It must be every book has its reader, and every reader his or her book. So we keep these two principles together. That we said that when we find readers, how they are keeping book. So this is the basic principle which he was trying to put forth into the classification system. That every book, it's a reader. That is a very important thing. But how we can able to provide, such services in the library, that was the greatest task, then and now also, in India and abroad. And different methods are sought. So different ways are devised to have connections between because the innovation, good teaching and research can only take place in a place where we have a well closely organized functional library. Where we find it. This is the way through which we can tackle the problems in terms of available literature knowledge. So that is the way when we indicate that library must save the time for the reader. Here comes the, I'm giving you an example. When Muhammad Iqbal was searching for a particular book in the library in the United Kingdom during his PhD program. So when after spending a lot of time, he did not get the right book he was looking for. So one of the person who was helping the readers comes to him. He said, "What books you are finding here?" He said, "I'm finding books on some Sufi literature, some such books." He said, "Better that if you can locate them in German university's library, they are well." So that how he was shifted from England, UK to the German for his PhD. That was the way the librarian, the staff of the library, they would help the readers. So Ranganathan was of the opinion that we must arrange our library which would be helpful to the readers in a minimum time to locate what he wants it. That's again a changing task, in the face of tons of literature being produced. You can't say annually, you can't say monthly, but weekly. What is happening today? So it is becoming much more difficult to locate and to stop, the digital information which is coming to us. You can well imagine how many pen drives and other things you have. So now, another thing which he said, that library must be a growing organism, which is one of the most important things. Recently, I was looking for a book was not available in our part of the region. So I asked the librarian, Jivesh Bansal, that would it be possible to locate the book? I will get it because it is difficult for me to read the book. It's a very, very bulky book on the all book has not been, uploaded. He said we can do this, and within 3-4 days, the book was arranged. It was published by the Braille's Press, and so the thing like that, the library's staff would only help to procure the desired information which is not available at the moment in the library. If there are resources available, the skill of the librarian and the staff to to spend those money to cure the literature. And that is again, making a good thing of making a library as a growing organism. So that is quite interesting for a man, at the time. You can see that in the 1913, 16, after that, when he got his graduation and master's and started his teaching and doing the early, you can say, 1920s, he was thinking about all this. So we find it that such a great personality, such a towering scholar in the library science, who gave us, he has proposed so many organizations, documentation centers, to building it up in Delhi. Whatever he did, it's a long back which also told us. I think on this day, remembering him is remembering, our efforts towards what we can now contribute, how we can enrich our libraries, and how in a digitally motivated world, dominated world, we can again find, a close interaction with the library. That library is not only useful when we are studying, as a student, library remains a part of us when we become professors, when we become, even after retirement, library is the only way where we can feel that we are alive. So this is the great, occasion and dedicated to Rangarajan's birth anniversary to organize a panel discussion. I'm thankful to the library in charge, chief librarian, and and information for giving me the opportunity to interact with you. Thank you very much. With this, I close my words.
Thank you, Professor Ronki. You are an inspiration to all of us, and your thought process will always stay with us. Specifically, your kind words have helped us through. Now, I would request Professor Preeti Mahajan, my own mentor, confidant, and role model, and the chairperson of Department of Library and Information Science, Panjab University, to introduce today's theme and share a few words with us. Professor Preeti Mahajan, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Neha. Professor Ronki Ram, Dean, Faculty of Arts, Panjab University, Chandigarh, eminent speakers, professional colleagues, and dear participants. A very good afternoon, happy Janmashtami, and happy Librarians Day to you all. It is my proud privilege to introduce you with the theme of the webinar being held here today. As we all know that August 12th is celebrated as the National Librarians Day in India in remembrance of the National Professor of Library Science, Dr. S.R. Ranganathan, who had spearheaded library development in India. Born in a small town of Shiali in Tamil Nadu, he began his professional life as a mathematician and later on shifted to librarianship with a mission to modernize Indian librarianship and library science education in India. Known as the father of library science in India, the Government of India awarded him Padam Shri for his valuable contributions to library science. His 5 laws of library science, as well as the theories of classification and cataloging, are still considered as the classic works, although the method of providing information has now changed in the light of new formats of information in the digital era. The journey of knowledge has seen a shift from oral to handwritten to printed to digital, especially through social media, and has impacted libraries in the same way. The earlier libraries, which were only accessed by an elite few with closed access system, changed to open access system with access to information by anyone and everyone. The collection of the library also witnessed an enormous addition from manuscripts to books to journals, grey literature, etc., in the printed format to digitized databases and whatnot. Not only did we see a change in the collection, as per the needs of the present users, a sea change has also been observed in the library services. The libraries today and also in the future have to serve the digital natives who are always hooked on to the IT gadgets. They are more interested in searching information from the search engines and would rather swim in the sea of information with more misses than heads rather than seeking help from the librarians. Digital natives, as they are called, need information at a click away and believe more in collaborative learning. In order to serve such clientele, the librarians are adopting to accommodate new applications of technology for information provision. This is certainly not something new for academic libraries. They have been adaptive and flexible with new innovations in learning and research for some time now. Some of such innovative technologies being used in the libraries around the world include use of drones for book deliveries, use of robotics within the library for various services, use of 3D printers, wearable technologies like Google Glass, rethinking library spaces, etc. Moreover, through collaboration, libraries are able to provide various services and improved access to scholarly material and resources. All this requires the librarians to learn new skills to be able to implement the new technologies for learning, research, and information for their patrons and provide room for active learning spaces, media productions, virtual meeting spaces, and other areas conducive to collaborative and hands-on work. Technological innovations and the evolution of library spaces seems to be more impacting the future of libraries and librarianship. Libraries will need to be more adaptive to explore and fit increasingly digital trends, as in 5, 10, or even 20 years from now, we could see libraries with completely paperless reading areas, touchscreen information portals, and robotic assistants and guides. The real innovation remains to be seen. It is with this background, the theme for today's webinar has been selected as Future of Librarianship in the Digital-Driven Era, and the eminent speakers will deliberate on how they foresee about the future of librarianship. With these words, I wish you all a very happy Librarians Day once again. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. That was absolutely true. Change is inevitable and growth is optional. I hope as libraries we will embrace it, and I believe that we will make it happen. Without further ado, let us invite our first speaker, Dr. S.M. Dhawan. He is a senior consultant librarian with over 40 years of experience in science librarianship and bibliometric or scientometric studies. He superannuated in 2005 as Scientist F from National Physical Laboratory, CSIR, New Delhi. Here, he was also the former head. He is also on the editorial board of International Journal of Information Dissemination and Technology and has many more feathers in his cap. With more than 70 research articles, he has worked for innovation supporting library transformation into digital era, which will be apt according to today's theme. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Dhawan. Thank you. Dr. Dhawan, can you hear us?
Can you hear? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
मैं बात कर रहा हूँ धवन सर से
जी.
He's already there.
हाँ सर, हाँ धवन सर स्टार्ट कर लीजिए सर अपना.
Sir, you have also been given the presentation rights. If you have any, you can share them as well.
Okay. Thank you very much for inviting me to this seminar or webinar. As the topic of the seminar is how digital era is going to change the future of the library. The topic connotes that I convey my thoughts on what changes are going to take place in future. How libraries are going to look different from now. What strategies will be needed for the change management. I'll try to do justice to my best to this topic. Libraries have been using library technologies, digital technologies, to improve user experience, particularly in the access of resources, improve experience in search and discovery, improve operational efficiency of the library, and improve institutional productivity in higher education systems. Libraries are also, to manage all this, libraries have been using library management. Libraries have also been using digital libraries to manage their institutional libraries. These have been the automation trends across all libraries. But despite all these automation trends, users are still relying on libraries, less on libraries, as the sole source for accessing information. They prefer to use search engines first for meeting their information needs, and going to the library is their secondary preference. Shift in how users are going to use the libraries. That is the main issue. This is an area which we need to address, and if it is addressed, we'll be able to we'll be able to make some inference on what we should be doing to make libraries relevant in the future. The current automation trends that we are using in the libraries are using across the libraries, they suffer certain drawbacks, major drawbacks, in the context of search engine systems. They do not provide, like the search engine provides, they do not provide a unified, integrated, one-stop system to access the libraries. Library management systems also do not search information across all publication types. Library resources spanning different publications like books, like journal articles, like thesis, like reprints, they're all being managed in silos. Library management systems, second issue with the library management system is library management systems are not interoperable. Data across library management system, for example, and the digital library system cannot be interexchanged. They have to function independently. They do not serve as one system. Libraries provide no provision to manage licensing agreements for digital resources. There's no provision to share resources across libraries. Though libraries are using technology, the fact is that they are not using the innovative technologies. Libraries are working as standalone systems and has no scope at present for them to share library resources. They are the kind of such systems that they use, they are obsolete. They are obsolete because they do not give knowledge, they only give information. How should we change the library? What should be the strategy to change the libraries? Libraries in future need to use library management systems, such library management systems that are integrated, such library management systems that are interoperable, and such systems that can be shared between multi-library systems. For example, there are systems like cloud-based library management systems. These systems provide unified approach to the full spectrum of library collections. These systems integrate and streamline the management of print and digital libraries. These systems provide a provision for resource sharing between the libraries, provide a search interface for library users. These systems allow harmonizing metadata of different types of publications and archives, etc., in the repositories also. It's easy to manage e-resources, including their metadata and licensing using such kind of systems. This system, such type of system also provide very improved access and very effective resource discovery products. They provide a single intuitive search interface for print and digital resources, which at the moment library management system do not. They provide collaborative collection development, which the present brand of library management system do not provide. They provide seamless access across collaborating institutions. They provide improved information literacy and user instruction. These such type of systems are also providing analytical tools. Such analytical tools are good enough to gain insight into the usage of resources and to use these tools to better meet the needs of the library patrons. Such type of new and innovative library management systems are now becoming available in the market. They are known as library services products. Such type of library services products are examples are OCLC WordShare Management Services, Ex Libris Alma, Sarah from Innovative Interfaces, ProQuest in Tota, Poly OLE, Siri Dynix, Blue Cloud Suite System, etc. Having given this brief introduction, I feel what should be. I feel that the future directions are future directions for the libraries are, and how future libraries can be made relevant are that libraries should move beyond standalone library management systems to shared infrastructure and system, and they should they should provide services such as shared library services, shared library resources. Such type of system we should use. Our future plan, sorry, next in prediction is use innovative technologies for collaboration across libraries and use innovative search and discovery tools to discover knowledge and not just information. In addition to this library automation trend and using this library management system, there's another trend that is going on in the libraries. It is consortia system of journals. These consortia, library consortia systems are being used to provide access to journals. But these big deals that are being made in consortia, these are in a way creating some kind of issues so far as the roles of librarians are concerned. I anticipate these systems are removing the one issue that is there. They are removing the traditional role of the librarian as an intermediary between the publisher and the users. These big deals, these big consortia deals, also are undermining the selection role of a librarian in the collection development. The reason why I'm saying so, because these consortia, big consortia deals are negotiated at a top level, at a top organization level, or maybe at the national level. And these teams select the journals, and in these selection, the selections that are made for consortia purposes, in these librarian at individual library level has no role. It is his authority to select journals as a collection development developer. That authority is being diluted. Too much power is being ceded to the major publishers. And publishers are also dictating such type of big deals. For example, the kind of licensing agreements they provide, they include punitive clauses, non-cancellation clauses of journals, and all these such type of matters do affect the freedom of the librarian to make or alter selections of the journals. What is going to be the impact of such type of deals, or what impact it has already taken place of such type of big consortia deals is that the future of the library service is going to change. Libraries are no more going to be the centrist, collection centrist libraries. Libraries are turning into service centrist libraries. Librarians, of course, however, can play a better role, and that role is as a subject expert. Librarians, as a subject expert, the librarians can guide how to navigate through the web of digital resources to find key publications. And they can also guide users on ease of use of digital resources and not just ease of access. Besides the digital technologies, it is the artificial intelligence that is also going to impact libraries in the future. Artificial intelligence is basically a program designed to replicate human intelligence at a scale and speed that humans cannot approach. The everyday applications of artificial intelligence are several. For example, driverless cars, metro trains, which are driverless. Even our Google search engine is also an example of application of artificial intelligence. Another application of artificial intelligence are digital assistants, also called chatbots. For example, Amazon's Alexa is well known to everyone probably. Microsoft's Cortana is also known to several. These assistants process queries and respond to queries with success. They are textual as well as non-textual assistants. These assistants underlined this recognition technology. Important underlying technologies are speech recognition. Machines can recognize patterns efficiently, routinely at a scale and speed that humans cannot approach. Well, in what way artificial intelligence applications are going to benefit the libraries? Artificial intelligence can enhance the classification schemes. It can assign metadata automatically. It can also index and produce abstracts automatically. It can enable textual search and discovery. It can also enable non-textual search and discovery. If you have a photograph and you want all information relating to that photograph, it is the artificial intelligence can search, not the traditional library management system. Artificial intelligence system can also improve search and recall precision. They can also play a very good role in resource discovery. The reason being this, that in artificial intelligence systems, you can search not just this structured data. As we search the databases, they are structured data. They also search the non-structured data. And these services are performed via machine learning. Plagiarism. This is an application which is being frequently used in academic libraries. And this is based on document matching and where the artificial intelligence is playing the role. Artificial intelligence in brief can enable new capabilities to provide information, and probably not just information but even deep intelligence. If we are searching the literature, it can provide deep intelligence to help us to connect to unexpected cross-disciplinary ideas. It can also identify unexpected connections among concepts, among researchers, and among institutions. Artificial intelligence, which does this function, is through data visualization tools. For example, Springer Nature Science Graphs Explorer is a product which does this kind of provide this kind of service. But the main question is, if everything is being done, going to be done through artificial intelligence libraries, what roles libraries are going to play in an artificial intelligence dominated library in future? The other question is, are libraries responding to this change, participating or creating their own artificial intelligence hubs? What is going to be the future if artificial intelligence is going to dominate? In my view, it is going to bring about transformation of digital libraries into intelligent libraries. In conclusion of my talk, I would like to submit that libraries have to leverage new and innovative technologies if they want to remain relevant in future. Core values of libraries and librarianship are still relevant in the digital era. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Dhawan. That was truly enlightening.
Thank you.
When we share something, we give something without losing. That is what I could take from your thing, your whole talk overall. So I would truly believe that we should also go ahead and share these things. Now, we have Professor Ravinder Kumar Chaddha amongst us, who is known to be an accomplished senior government officer. He superannuated as Additional Secretary Parliament of India, Lok Sabha. Dr. Chaddha is presently engaged as professor at Malvanchal University and adjunct faculty at Banchthali Vidyapeeth. With great experience working in British Library, National Institute of Design, and National Informatics Centers, he is truly a visionary. He has delivered several keynote addresses and talks during various programs. And now I would request him to please go ahead with his talks. Over to you, Dr. Chaddha.
Thank you, Neha.
Thank you, sir.
My proud privilege to be with you all this afternoon. Am I audible and my slides are visible?
Sir, you're audible. You have not shared your slides as of yet, though you have been made the presenter.
I have shared. Let me see. Share content. Okay. Right. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir. It's up now.
Okay. Good afternoon, friends. In fact, it's my proud privilege to be with you all today on the auspicious day of Janmashtami, as well as birthday of Dr. S.R. Ranganath. Yes, it's a very interesting topic today. What we have taken up is that future of libraries in digital era. I personally feel we are out from the digital era. We are now in the disruptive era. The time where the disruptive technologies or disruptive innovations are having impact on walk of each and every walk of our life. These are the innovations which probably were not even known or not even thought of, and they have disrupted the system. And number of examples are there. Uber, the taxi system, which probably nobody had thought of so early. and today it is one of the the most popular car services, car hiring services, KTM, your digital shopping and online shopping, Facebook, WhatsApp, and all. There are n number of examples, and they have disrupted the whole system what was prevailing earlier. Now, since these technologies or innovations are making dent on each and every walk of life, libraries cannot be left alone. In fact, libraries are getting the maximum pressure from the disruptive technologies. Reason being, we are now in a knowledge economy, and this knowledge is the forte of libraries. And everybody today is, whatsoever the new industries are coming up, whatsoever new systems are coming up, they are basically knowledge driven. So libraries are target each and every time, and we have to come out from those disruptions. These disruptions are on the publishing side, disruptions on the education side, and most important is data protection, the false news and all. A whole lot of things are pressurizing libraries, and libraries have to come above all these things. In fact, we are very, nowadays we are hearing a kind of a talk that when there is Alexa or Siri or Google Assistant, do we really need libraries? You just raise your voice, whether it is on your mobile or your Alexa device or a Siri device, and you get the answer. So do you really need libraries during this era? Certainly, the things have changed, and let me talk for another 20 minutes how libraries are still relevant, how libraries are important, and how libraries will take reshape. Certainly, the library technology has changed, library users have changed, and if we don't change, we are in the risk of becoming irrelevant. And most important, the moment we talk about change, that we must change, we must adopt the new techniques and services, the first thing comes is human resource. The most important factor today is the human resource. We have to provide new skills. We have to convert this capital into the biggest resource when we are talking about the changes. I was just going through the literature, and I found in the list of top 25 declining industries, rather in the list of top 10 declining in US industries, libraries figure at number 2 or number 3. The survey has been taken on the basis of the number of people are being employed or being re-employed in different industries. And if you look into the statistics or data, you will find the libraries are at number 2 at very, and the kind of percentage of people which are not getting employment is a very huge, quite huge, 80.3. Just above it is videotape and DVD rental stores. And after that, the library comes. And then later on, we have like photo printing, this and that kind of thing. So libraries are at big risk if we don't change. Let us see how the world labor market or the job market is going on. The predictions by the Education Commission of UNESCO, it says that around 2 billion of jobs are at risk of disappearing. These jobs, which are of, like a median skill level jobs or no skill level of jobs, they may disappear. Maybe due to artificial intelligence, maybe due to robots, or all kind of a thing. There is a big risk of disappearing a lot of jobs. Disappearing library job doesn't mean, or when I use the word that the library is in the disappearing list, it doesn't mean that libraries will disappear. The libraries will become a kind of a low priority thing. Libraries will be kind of a low skill jobs, poorly paid jobs. The jobs which were considered as a very high level jobs, they may come in the category of low paid jobs the routine jobs, the clerical jobs. And this is what is the prediction. But at the same time, there is a good news. The news is that a lot of new jobs are going to come up. And the same report says that, which is another interesting factor, that the employers are not able to recruit the right people for right jobs. There is a shortage of skills. So on one side, we say there is a chances of disappearing billions of jobs rather. On another side, there is a demand from the employer who are not getting the right people for the right jobs. Same situation is in India. That was the global situation. If we look into the situation in India, one IT stalwart said more than 90% of engineers graduates are not fit for hiring in the IT industry. 90%. And the survey, which was done by Aspiring Minds, it says that 80% of engineers, Indian engineers, are not fit for jobs. Not fit for job means the jobs which are kind of a highly skilled jobs. The jobs like where you require, like artificial intelligence, linguistic skills, cognitive skills, these kind of high-end jobs, very few people are available in the market. Another NESCOM says there are 60 lakh people required in the field of cyber security by 2022. Probably we will not able to get that big number of people, even in India, in spite of such a big, the group of engineering colleges in the country. The employer says, we are looking for a person on robotics, but I get a person on some other skills. That means the right person for right skills is not available. And if you look, it is not that it is in the engineering field. We don't have any data for the librarianship. But I, with my personal experience, feel and have seen it, that we are also not getting the right people at the positions which we are looking for. People with certain skills which we want are not available in our field as well. Recently, I was in Sikkim looking for a professor, university librarian and FT librarian, and we could not find even a single person who could do. So there is a big challenge, there is a big gap between the kind of skills which are available, the people who are looking for the job, and people who are who wants to give the job. So this gap has to be looked at. This demand for LIS education needs to be, because LIS, since I said that the situation is not very good in the field of librarianship also, we need people who are critical thinkers, who are problem solvers, who work in a team, who are able to communicate, who have interdisciplinary approach, and above all, they should have social and emotional skills. Are we getting this kind of people? In fact, LIS departments, they work into isolation, and if in the name of they are providing the basic knowledge or pure knowledge, they are not able to complement, they are not able to talk with the industry or the librarians or the libraries. Talking about, we are giving theoretical foundation, we are making them workforce, but at the same time, are they useful skill handler? Are they having sufficient skills to help the library, or they are just parrots who have learned in their 2-year course or more than that, just what librarianship is, what just some theories, some techniques, and all this. Where is the flexibility? What about their critical thinking? They all are missing from our system. So, if the libraries have to change, if the libraries have to work, on one side, we have to look into our education system. On another side, we have to look into our libraries also. It's not that the libraries need not to work in a very different way. What are we doing in the libraries? We are trying to perform the same old practices with the help of modern tools. Computers are just used to handle our age-old practices. Is that other industries doing? Is that the banking industries mean? I take into any service sector. Is that they have just, use the computers to handle their old kind of practices? How we can handle the Google user with the yesterday's method? Is it what is we are looking for? The first and foremost thing the librarians have to understand, they have to shift their focus from techniques to services. Basically, we are spending a lot of our time and energy in back-end jobs, in the technique, and the service part is practically missing on Indian library system. And more than that, we hardly have any system for obtaining feedback of the users. We do not think of that. We have not thought of even that. And if Indian libraries have to come forward, the traditional approaches have to be questioned. They have to be challenged. They have to be modified. It's not that we can live on the age-old practice. The continuous training programs, the training programs in the modern things, which I'll be talking a little later, what all we need to do now, have to be continuously conducted. People have to be trained in the new thing. They have to de-learn a lot of things. In fact, we are so engrossed with our, techniques that we do not want to change ourselves. We think that is the ultimate. And sharing is practically missing in our system. We don't share our information, our knowledge, our practices. And if you look internationally, the 43% of papers published in last 5 years were written by international research teams. Here we are not talking even in national level collaboration. And people are going for international level of collaboration. So sharing is very important. We have to develop some kind of a mechanism where we share our data, where we share our experiences, where we lost, where we could do new things, where we could add the new thing. And how all this will come, it is all through the reading. Another thing, the upgradation through reading, through studies. Once we clear our exam, once we are in the system, we stop reading. We think that we have learned each and everything. And that's end of our learning system. My dear friends, world topmost people, whether it's a Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, or any of them, they all are ferocious people. They all read and read and read. And that's why they are on the top. They give all their, that they have gained all these things just because of their reading habits. Even Mukesh Ambani, who is the richest man in India, he is ferocious. And as Bill Gates says, if you look into the last slide, he feels that communication and reading, these are the two, the keys for the success. The another thing which we must pick up is that the communication skills, which are the most important, which need to be developed, which need to be looked into. So, the future belongs to those people who change, who not only think differently, but create new services, new products. What are these? Let me talk about library space. How many of us have thought of to change the library space in the modern context? We are talking about online education, we are talking about books, we are talking about classroom environments in the library, but how much space we have changed? Have we brought the libraries kind of a combination of a serious reading and a happening place where people come? We always complain that people don't come to the library. Why they will come? Unless until you have activities for them in the library. We have to rethink how we can make it as an active learning space, not as a routine, kind of a calm, noiseless, dull places. Library services have to be relooked at. And the foremost for that is we should treat every day as our business day. Mark Zuckerberg, probably the richest man now, he says that I wear a tie every day. That gives me a feeling I am going for work, not for recreation. And half of our staff or half of our professionals come in a sleepy way, in a like a lazy mood in the offices. You have to manage the present, but identify the new areas where we can do. We all should be bubbling with the energy. We all have to think of every day what we can do, how we can, bring new ideas, new concepts in the system. And slowly and gradually start forgetting the past. We have to de-learn the things which we have learned and which are outdated. We have to look into what our reader wants to do. Reader, what I have seen, what I have observed, that any reader comes with something, we start Googling ourselves. My dear sir, he might have Googled before he came to you. You have to see how best you can make improve systems for him. In this digital era, in this disruptive era, you have to innovate, you have to come up with new things. And take out the time from the routine jobs which we are spending, which we are doing till now. We are wasting, I always call it wasting. We are wasting a lot of our time on the activities which are probably resulting us nowhere, for which the result is hardly there. So, can we forget that and do for the activities which are required, which people are looking for? What librarians have to do today? They have to be part of the teaching system if they are in teaching environment. They have to organize the intellectual output of the organization, depository or whatsoever you call. Manage institutional scholarly archives. The data, the whole lot of data is developed in each and every organization. Where the data goes? Who will take care of that data, which has been generated in the system, in the institution? Then we have the responsibility, we can take the responsibility of measuring the research output of the organization. And now even in the ranking system, NIRF is asking you, what are your research output? So here is the opportunity for the librarian. Grab it. Be part of open access initiative. Be part of digital publishing. Become a publisher, librarian become a publisher as well. Government is putting a lot of emphasis on MOOCs, online studies and all. And this pandemic has brought what we thought the kind of a system will come after 5 years or 7 years. It has advanced it to that much of time. Provide provisions in the library. Become a kind of a MOOC supporter. What students should read, what students should look into, that is your responsibility now. Plagiarism is another issue which you should take over in the institute. Be part of institutional ranking process. If you are taking care of measuring research output, you automatically become a part of ranking process. How many of you are the webmaster of the institution? When in IIT Delhi kind of an environment, which is a technological institute, the library can become a webmaster. Librarian can become a webmaster. Why not in the academic institutes or other institutes? In the parliament, webmaster was the library group. So easy, but you have to work for it. Library space, open source software. We have to give whole lot of services to e-resources. Make use of social media. It's an endless list which librarians can now do it. The days have gone when the librarian had a job of classification, cataloging and reference services. What we did for last 50 years. Why our prestigious institution got closed. INSDOC, DECIDOC, NESDOC, NISAR, all lot of sectoral information system, drug information system, leather information system, all got closed. because they didn't change with time. Either they are close or they have hardly any importance in the organization. They are being headed by the non-professionals because we didn't change. We never thought of changing the environment, bringing the new concept. And as I said, the one thing which is absolutely missing is feedback. We do the things for ourselves, thinking we are doing best. User require it or not require it. I have n number of examples I can give, but certainly there is no time for all. So remember, library is a service organization, and these technologies are tools. There you can use it for any kind of service you are doing. Imagine a service, there will be a tool. And don't get afraid of this technology. Technology is new for all of us. Even if a computer expert doesn't touch the technology for 2 years, he will be totally outdated. Why 2 years, even 1 year? He will be outdated himself. So he has to start afresh. So for everybody, technology is new. You have to think very, very, very differently if you want to remain in business. That means libraries has to remain in business. And I always use one word, which is that invest in yourself. Keep learning. Keep learning new things. Go on doing the things. Think very differently. Become a part of national and global perspective. And that's the time, that's the thing which we have to do. I'm sure LIS future is really bright. Libraries will thrive, but we have to re-envision ourselves. We have to change ourselves. We have to be totally different. If you go into same traditional approach, a list of US is in front of you. You are at number 2 of getting out of business very soon. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Over to Neha.
Thank you, Dr. Chaddha. Your achievements of ICD Lifetime Achievement Award for Distinguished Service, DLA Lifetime Achievement Award, Manav Rashna Lifetime Achievement Awards, a few more, and some national awards like Satkal National Award, Master Motilal Sanghi Award, and today's talk especially are some of the feathers in your kitty. You have truly shown up your knowledge and understanding about the topics and the current scenario of libraries. Thank you so much, sir. I'll move on with your permission now. Dr. Narendra Kumar is our next speaker. He is presently working as University Librarian and heading Delhi University Library System, consisting of 34 libraries. He started his career as an intern at American Center, Delhi in 1985 and moved to British Council, Delhi. He has been working at University of Delhi since 2006. He has been life member of Indian Library Association and Asian Library Association, as well as secretary of Indian Library Association during 1999 to 2001. He has contributed in national as well as international journals and edited 4 books. He has delivered lectures, invited talks at refresher courses, orientation programs, and so forth. He has more than 20 years of experience of counseling IGNOU students in cataloging as well as classification. Now he would be talking about today's theme with us. Over to you, Dr. Narendra Kumar. Can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, Neha. Thank you, Neha. Can I share the screen now?
Sir, just a moment.
Yes.
I think you have been made the presenter. No, yes, sir, you have been made the presenter. You can do that.
Okay.
Just check.
I am sharing the share.
See, your screen is visible now.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
At the outset, let me thanks RRC, Panjab University Library, as well as the Department of Library Information Science for giving this opportunity on the Librarians Day, that is the Ranganathan's birthday on 12th of August. The topic which has been given to me is future of librarianship in technology-driven area. there was a no question mark after the topic. I intentionally put a question mark after the topic so that we will have a vision whether the library will be relevant or not. Now, before I start the topic, let me wish all the library professionals and the library colleagues a happy Librarians Day, which is the librarians, which is the birthday of the Dr. Ranganathan, and my sincere tribute to Dr. S. R. Ranganathan, born in 1892 and died in 1972. Now let us start the topic. Now the topic of the day is whether the librarianship or the library will be relevant for the next century or the in digital area or the technological area. I have intentionally included Dr. S. R. Ranganathan because today is the Ranganathan birthday. It's my, you can say it's my duty. So whatever we have gained today in library science in India, we have to pay tribute to, and by getting the different writings of the Ranganathan, whether they are still in the relevant in this technological area or not. Now, the first question is whether the librarian writings of Dr. S. Ranganathan are or would be relevant in technological different area. I think my answer is just these are relevant still in technological area, in today area. These were relevant yesterday also. These are relevant today also. And these writings will be relevant in the next coming years also. Now, what are the criteria on which we can decide whether a particular person is relevant in this technological area or not? These days, we have a H-index concept. We have an impact factor index. So we want to know, we should know whether the Ranganathan is still relevant or his writing are still relevant in this digital area. So I have tried to get the H-index of the Ranganathan, which is with malware DB from the Google Scholar. And I have found then Ranganathan writings are still valid or still relevant. If you see the slide, you will find that the Ranganathan H-index since 2012 is 13, whereas the H-index of the DV is only 6. That means Ranganathan writings are still being used by the scholars and other library professionals, whereas the DV's writings are not being used as much as the Ranganathan writings are being used. Now, there is another reason. There was a news item, I think a month before in Times of India. And the news item was that the truth still needs to be told on paper because digital only records disappears, leaving a hole in history when website go down or are hacked or ordered shut down by the court, government or the billionaire. Because there is no control over the website. Anybody can upload the website and anybody can withdraw the website. So if we depend only on the Google, then there would be a problem of knowing the history of the past. And library or librarians are still relevant because usually we get this type of information where the user is not knowing where a particular publication was published. They know only the vague idea about the publication. For example, this is an email I received from the highest authority of the University of Delhi. They have published 3 papers and they have no idea. They only know the source, that is the Bharat Times in 1983, Hindustan Hindi 1981, and Indian Express in either 1980 or 1981. Now, what is the role of the library? The library has to find this type of information. Google does not provide this type of information, where this particular item was appeared. So, library and librarians will relevant. And there are other reasons also. For example, library is not a 4-wall. It's an environment. Take an example of your home. Everybody has a temple in home. Even everybody says, "Ghat ghat mein Ram baste hain." then why we have to go to the Vaishno Devi? Why we have to go to the Shirdi Ke Sai Baba? Why we have to go to the Brindavan? Why we have to go to the church? Because those temples or the area provides a special environment where the devotee feels more closer to the God. In the same way, the library has to do a archival role, because Google is not responsible to transfer the knowledge from current generation to the next generation. Google only see its profit, whereas the library is the only institution who is responsible to provide the current information to the future generation, or you can say which is only responsible institution who will transfer the knowledge to the future generation. And that is the why the British Library or the government of British has appointed the British Library that they will archive each and every website which is appearing on daily basis, so that in future when there is an error 404 occurs, so the library will have all the information which was appeared on that particular website. There is another function of the library, that is a community function. We have to provide a information to the research scholar. And in India, where the average income is of a person is around only 200 per day or 300 rupees per day, no researcher scholar can afford to buy the information which is available in the subscribed source. An average cost of a articles is these days around $35 per article. And suppose if we need $100, we have to spend $3,500, which comes into a lakhs of rupees. I think no research scholar can afford to buy all those 100 articles for his research. Therefore, we have to have a library, or we have to have an institution who provide those information which are available for cost. There is another reason for a library, that everything is not available on internet. People think whatever we want, we can have from the internet. It's not true. Google indexes only the 18 to 20% of the information which is available on the net. There is a deep web, or we can say black web, where the 80% of information. It means there are billions of websites who do not allow Google to index their content. So it is the job of the librarian to provide those 80% content to the user. Now, people generally confuse the internet is a digital library. It's not true. Digital library are not the internet, because library means where we have to select the document, or we select the information, we preserve the information in an ordered way, and we give the information in a right to the right reader. Whereas the Google, you just hit the person, any term in the search box, you find millions of hit in a second. But those millions. I am now the host, ma'am. अपने हो गया set. Sorry, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. Am I audible?
Ma'am, got this. Yes, sir, you're audible. Yes, sir, you're audible. Please continue.
Okay, ma'am. There is a misconception about the internet. Internet is a free. It's not true. If you need information which is based on some subscription, you have to make the payment. Internet complements the libraries but does not replace it. Internet is a subject to manipulation. Means Google does not show what do you want to see. Google shows what they want to show it to you. It may be possible that your relevant information will be on the last page of the Google page. And I think you will not have this much time to go to the last page and find the relevant information. And hard to isolate concise information. And there is another reason that not everyone can afford the books. Everyone is not in a position to purchase the books individually or personally. One has to go to the some institution where they can provide those books. Even Government of India is also trying to create a digital environment in India, and the 10-point vision of the Government of India, that second vision is we have to have a digital India by 2030. That means Google Library also has to change themselves. Recently, the national education policy has been declared by the government of India. In that also, there is a specific mention about the libraries. On para 21.9, they have mentioned that the online accessibility of the library books, they haven't said the books only, they have said the library books and further broad basing of the digital library is the need of the hour. Means government of India is also going to give efforts to create a digital library. These things making a lot of impact on the library. These days, library are shifting.
Dr. Kumar, can you hear us? Dr. Kumar?
It seems his connection is lost.
Sir, you can remove your video for the time being so that there is less disruption, because there is low bandwidth coming up from your end. So just remove it for your some time.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. Now
I'm
you're
sorry, ma'am.
visible and
There
audible,
is
sir.
some connectivity problem. There was some
That's all right,
connectivity.
sir. It happens. Technical issues every time.
Okay. And these days we are paying instead of ownership to get the accessibility. We are moving from Akar to Nirakar, from real to. As Dr. Dhawan has mentioned, we have to provide a discovery tools. Means we have to replace our catalog to the search engine. And these days the libraries are spending more on the e-resources than the print resources. Now, when we are shifting from print to digital, there are a lot of issues before the library or librarianship. The basic issue is the finance. Take, take a look at the slide of this. You see the spending on the education has been decreasing every year by the government. In 2014-15, government was spending around 5.83 of the total budget allocation. Last year, the government spent only 3.3% of the total budget allocation on education. Whereas the cost of the periodicals is stable, mean they are increasing on a particular rate of rate that is around 5% or 6%. So this is the problem the library is going to face. Means they will have a less budget, but they will have and the higher cost of the information, the higher cost of the journals. Recently, in April 2000, there is a survey by the EBSCO. They have mentioned that the library budget are decreasing every year. Even the enrollment of the student, as Dr. Chaddha has mentioned, a lot of college has been shut down because there was no enrollment for the students. Library budget has been diminishing every year. So library has to see or have to opt some alternative. Like they have to cut down their spending on the journals, buying only the title which are useful or the demand justify instead of buying just as the Dr. Dhawan mentioned, we are facing a problem in bundle subscription. So we have to revisit our selection policy. We have to buy only those periodicals which are needed by the institution. Aggressively renegotiating contract with the publisher to reduce the ongoing crowd. Because publisher, as this also has been mentioned by the Dr. Dhawan, publisher are having a monopoly on the disseminating of the information. So we have to find solution or we have to negotiate hard with those publishers. And if the trend goes on in the same way as we have it today, then library has to spend what they are spending today. It has to be 250% more than the today's budget in next 8-10 years. So library has to see these things. Now, since today is the Ranganathan birthday, and Ranganathan was the first person who gave the basic rule for the library information science. And those rules or those laws are 5 laws of library science, which was his first book on library science. And we want to see whether those laws are still relevant in the technological area. For example, Ranganathan has given a first law that books are for use. Instead of preservation, he mentioned that the book has to be used. And for example, today, the information has to be used. As Dr. Chaddha has mentioned, we have to propagate or we have to promote the open access system to the in the library. For example, Ministry of Science and Technology, they have made mandatory that whenever they are giving project to anybody, the result or the report of that project would be available in the open access system. And even European Union has made it mandatory for every research project funded by the union that the report would be available in the open access system. And you know, the Ranganathan was the first person, as the Madam Preeti mentioned, he started the open access system in Madras Library. And today we are also advocating for the open access system. Responsible not for all the other. These days, the library or librarian are not only responsible for the budget they are spending or the information they are having in the library. They are also responsible the information available on the net. So every information has to be used. Develop physical and technical infrastructure to deliver physical and digital material. You have to create infrastructure. Number of computers should be there. Remote access facility should be available. As Dr. Dhawan has mentioned, we have to provide the information literacy program so that they can inculcate the reading habit among the user, or they can withdraw the right information from the Google. We have to provide an information literacy program to all the users. The second law given by the Ranganathan, every person his or her book, or mean every reader his or her book. Now, the main focus of the Ranganathan was the obligation of the government, obligation of the staff, and obligation of the reader. And if we convert these obligations in the current area, that is the technological area, we find there are a lot of obligation or there are a lot of attempt by the government to meet those obligations. For example, RTE, right to education, net neutrality. It means Google has to show according to the demand of the readers. They have to show according to the relevancy of the user instead of showing those websites which is getting advertised from for them. And there are a lot of obligation towards the staff, library staff. We have to conduct number of user studies to know what are the useful information. On these days in the electronic area, we have excellent tools. We can calculate our usage statistics. We can study how much a particular journal is being used by, how many downloads are there on a particular journal, and who is using. So on that basis, we can create our policy and etc. We have to provide effective search engine, as Dr. Dhawan has also mentioned. We have to provide a discovery tools so that they will get every information they need. Every reader get his information. We have to provide a virtual reference service. The reference service should not be depend on the library timing. It has to be available 24/7. And obligation towards the staff also. Even we have to educate our readers. Please you have a electronic source, but do avoid the systematic downloading. And whenever there is a uses, or whenever you use some information or some article, please cite them. Like Dr. Chaddha has mentioned, we have to be expert in the plagiarism detecting. So we have to educate the user that whenever you are using or quoting, how to cite those documents. We have to teach them. Then every book's its reader or every information its user. So we have to provide a discoverability, invisible web, Google indexes. We provide the access. We have to give a complete infrastructure. There should be an application on app which can be provide the data on the Google or on the laptop, on the mobile or whatever they have. Understand the flow of the information, knowledge, the role of online social interaction. use the social media for the benefit of the library, not for the personal use. Then this is the most important law of the library science given by the Ranganathan. And this is the, okay, we can say this is the need of the hour. We have a abundance of information, but what is the relevant information? The librarian has to provide the relevant information. Ranganathan stress on the open access. There has to be a guides, there has to be catalog, there has to be a reference book, there have to be a library location. But if we see the same thing in the technology area, we have to give an information technology program so that the lot of time of the research scholar or the user can be saved, so that they can give call out the relevant information at a right time. We have to give them we have to educate them about the searching techniques, whether it's a simple search or Google advanced techniques of such research. And we have to provide the discovery tools. Information about the citation manual is also necessary. How to cite the documents, whether it's in Chicago manual style or API or a remote. There is another area where the librarian can work, that provide the remote access facility to the reader, so that they cannot limit their search only 10 to 5 only. They can search wherever they want. They can search whatever they want. They can search from anywhere. There is no doubt the library is a growing organization, and today, every second, a new information is being generated and uploaded on the net. And these are some figures which gives you a glimpse that how much information are being generated these days. Then, what is the method to meet this challenge of the growing organism? And we have to collaborate. As the Chaddha Sahab mentioned, we have to collaborate. Whatever resources we have to collaborate with our other libraries. Otherwise, the publisher will destroy the library by using the monopolistic approach. If I am a subscriber Science Direct and Patel Chess, which is in the campus area itself, if they are not subscribing, I think we should provide the access to those Patel Chess also, or the articles they need, we can provide them instead of asking them to spend the same amount which University of Delhi is spending. We have to have a consortium approach, as the Chaddha Sahab had mentioned, and the network library, resource sharing, and interlibrary loan and collaboration from the users. Then, though the Ranganathan belongs to India, but there is not much research on the Indian Ranganathan writings. But OCLC has done a research in 2014, and they have done a research on the 5 laws of library science. They found that everything is okay with the 5 laws of library science. The only change is required, that the sequence of the law can be changed in the technological area, which means the 4th law, which is the save the time of the reader, it can be the first law of the library science, then other law will remain the same. So there is a need to have it save the time of the reader, because earlier there was a secrecy of the information. The information was not available to the readers. These days we have an abundance of information. The information overloaded, overflow. So we have to provide the right information to the right reader, so that the time of the research scholar can be saved. And this is the job of the library. And certainly we do not want this type of feature for our library science. 2-3 days back, there was an advertisement for the chief librarian of one of the premier medical institution of India, that is the All India Institute of Medical Science, in which they have asked walk-in interview for a librarian post. I think it's not a good sign for the library science people. We have to do something extraordinary, otherwise, as Chaddha Sahab mentioned, whether we will be there or not, it's a matter of discussion. So what we can do to survive? The librarian role has to change, and librarian has to learn the new technology. That is the technocrat. As the Dhawan Saab mentioned, we have to run the cloud computing technology. What are the different modules are available for the cloud content? The librarian has to learn this thing. Librarian has to be a negotiator. As the Dhawan Saab has mentioned, the cost of the knowledge is getting high day by day. The publisher are charging every day the higher price than the last year. They have a price cap system. Every year they increase the journal price by 6 to 7%. And the library budget is decreasing. So the library, and moreover, they are providing a bundle subscription. Instead of providing a selection-based subscription, they were providing a bundle-based subscription. Whether the complete bundle is useful or not, it's a immaterial. So we have to be a good negotiator. Sometimes they offer up to 90% discount of the list price. The librarian has to be a good negotiator these days. The librarian has to be an evaluator of the good information. Net has a billions of pages available. But what are the good information? What is the right information? So they have to provide, they have to evaluate the information in every day. And this digital documents provides a good opportunity. It means it provides that even every article can be monitored. Who is using that? And how many times a particular article has been downloaded. Use those technology, use those usage information to renew or subscribe the database. And before getting any new database, the librarian should have a trial access of the every database. And after getting the trial access, get the uses of those trial period. And if you found useful, these techniques were not available in the printed area. Now these techniques are available. You can have a trial of that particular database, and then after evaluating the trial, you can start the access if you need. And if you do not need, you don't subscribe it. You have to be a navigator. Again, Dr. Chaddha has mentioned, we have to navigate the information on day-to-day basis. We have to search what are the open source are available for the library, which can be useful for the teacher, which can be useful for the undergraduate, which can be useful for the subject. And there are a lot of resources which may be illegal. But if the researcher need the information, and if the publisher are using the unethical practices for enhancing their profit, we can also use sometimes the illegal website like Sci-Hub, PDF Drive. They are providing the articles which are not available in our subscription list. And reader need them. And if we go for buying them, they are charging millions of rupees. But the Sci-Hub is giving those articles, millions of articles, which are prize articles, they are providing free of cost. I know this is an illegal website. It's unethical from the, but the publishers are also using the unethical practice. Those, I think we have to give sometimes we have to use some unethical practice also to provide the information of the to the user. Then the librarian has to be a legal advisor. The Dr. Dhawan also mentioned about the nitty-gritty of the agreement of the e-resources. The agreements of every e-resources is totally biased toward the publisher. Then the librarian has to learn each and every clause of the agreements and see what are the agreements which are not helpful for the library or the institution, like automatic renewal, like system downloading. So we have compelled the publisher to change those automatic renewal clauses. Even there was a general clause of in every agreement that the jurisdiction of the agreement would be the head office of the publisher, not the India. So we have replaced all those agreements where the jurisdiction was not in India, but the publisher head office. So we have asked them to change this jurisdiction, and I can share we are able to change all the agreement, and no agreement is there in which the jurisdiction is other than the India. And then the librarian has to run the copyright law also, which are the new provision. For example, in 2012, there is a change in the copyright law Okay, you can convert the every document in digital form for the purpose of preservation. There is no need to ask the permission of the publisher. If your objective is to preserve the material, you can digitize any document. Even for the blind students, you can digitize any document and upload for the blind student, not for the regular student, but for the blind student. And you have the librarian has to be an instructor. They have to provide the information literacy program. The librarian has to be the networker, mean resource sharing among the library. Who are the libraries which are subscribing a particular database? Which are the libraries are providing which service, which database? So we have to have an information about this. And besides, we have to provide the tailor-made information. Take an example of recent allotment of the UGC. They have allotted 1 crore rupees to all the university libraries to subscribe or to purchase e-books in perpetual access mode. What the library has done, whatever publisher has offered in a bundle, they have selected from that bundle and ordered them. But in the University of Delhi, we haven't done this. What we have done, we have listed all the references in 173 syllabuses, which counted around 51,000 references in the 175 in the syllabus. And we identify the unique titles which we need for undergraduate and postgraduate. Then we have sent an inquiry to the publisher that please see whether these titles are available in the e-format or not. Then the information which we have got is around 50% of reference titles or the titles which are listed in the syllabus are available on the e-format. Now, what is the conclusion of this? Then in that case, we will ask the department to change those titles which are not available in the print or e-format. Change the title or suggest other titles which is available in the e-format. So we should not buy whatever they are offering. We should buy what we needed. Promote the open access. Dhawan Sahab mentioned, even the Chaddha Sahab has mentioned. Then we have to promote the action. There is a website that is called Cost of Knowledge. They have given a call. You have to boycott the LGVR. There are 7 countries of the world who have boycotted the LGVR product. They are not going to publish any article in the LGVR product, or they are not going to subscribe any LGVR because they are having very, very high prices for the cost, for the knowledge. So we have to promote the open access system. The librarian has to have a media information literacy. Today is not the day where the person will come to the library, but we have to change the behavior from place-bound information access to anytime, anywhere access to information. Means we have to give information where they want. Instead of we will ask them to come to the library, we have to go to their doorstep. The librarian has to teach them around the citation tools. He has to provide the information. What is the H index? Whenever there is a that provide the affiliation. Whenever they come to the university, they always ask what is the H index of the University of Delhi. The library is providing what is the H index of the university. The librarian has to tell the research scholar which is the journal which has the highest impact factor on that particular field in which they are going to write, so that they can submit their article on the highest impact factor journal. Then we need for performing this, we need a new skills. As the Chaddha Sahab had mentioned that we has to be provide the, we have to learn the reference manager tools first, like EndNote, Mendeley, how a digital library can be created for individual purpose, and how those digital contents can be cited by a particular citation manual. Then we have to learn ourselves what is the plagiarism, how we can, what are the software are available, and not only detecting the software plagiarism, we have to provide the education to the reader how they can avoid the plagiarism. Like how to cite according to Chicago Manual Style, how to cite APA, American Psychological Association, how to cite according to the IEEE. And at the end, I have some appeal, whatever experience I have got in this profession for the last 40 years. As Chaddha Saab mentioned, play with the technology instead of allowing technology to play with you. Connect with the user. What we are doing, we are removing the reference deck. There is no reference deck in the major libraries. I worked in the IIT library. They have started the RFID technology. And after the RFID technology, what they have done? They have removed the circulation desk. There was no help desk in the library. And even today, there is no help desk in the library. So there is no connectivity with the users, what the user wants. And we have to provide the right book. Ranganathan said, right book. I have just mentioned the right information to the right reader at the right time. Right time means which is the convenient to the readers. If he or she wants information in the night 10:30, he or she should be given to the information and in a right personal way, at a right place, wherever he wants, anywhere in the world, remote logging, and the right format. Mean, if they want information in the Excel format, you have to provide the in Excel format. If they want in JPG, if they want in Word format, you have to provide. If they want in CD, you have to give the CD. If they want through the email, you have to give the information. And I always request the library professional, use stair, not the lift. सफलता की सीढ़ी होती है, लिफ्ट नहीं होती. ये कहते हैं ना, असफलता की सीढ़ियां चढ़ता गया. किसी ने ये नहीं सुना होगा कि सफलता की लिफ्ट चढ़ता गया. The reason behind it, this logic, is that we are ignoring the development of the 20th century. We are just jumping to the development of the 21st century. For example, there are a lot of print resources, and there are a lot of print resources which has not been digitized yet. But those print resources are very useful for the research scholar or for the educational community. So we have to create the database of those print resources. More than 95% libraries have not created their database of the print resources. Take an example of the University of Delhi Library. The library could not able to create the database of the vernacular language, which is in lakhs. So I started the digitization, or not digitization, the computerization of creating the database of that vernacular language. No library is trying to do the stock verification. Their catalog is giving a wrong information to the reader. Catalog is saying that the book is available in the library, but when the user goes to the stack, they do not find the book on a shelf. So you have to do the stock verification to update your catalog, not to blame anybody, just to enhance the quality of the service. Then do not ignore the library sign. Mean, you have been subscribing or purchasing ebooks, but no library is cataloging those e-resources. They just purchase in bundle, put it in Excel format on the website. Okay, these are the books which are available in the digital form. Go. We are not giving any subject heading. We are not giving any different permutation for the accessibility. Then play for team, not for the gallery. Mean, work for the library, not for the gallery. Work for the user, not for the higher authority. Play for the team, play for the library, not for the gallery. Promote and market the library, not yourself. There are a number of librarians who are marketing themselves instead of marketing their library. If you go to their library, you will find the real picture of those library. Do not play in the hand of electronic vendors. As I mentioned earlier also. I also mentioned the same example. Revisit the selection policy of the document. I recently published an article in the Serial Librarian, Taylor and Francis, in which I have evaluated the uses of the e-journals in the DU provided by the ESS. And I have found that only the 10% of journals are meeting the 90% demand of the user. It means 90% of journals are meeting the need only of the 10% user, whereas the regular rule is say 80% of the demand can be met by the 20% of collection or 20%. But these percentage of useful journals are reducing in the bundle subscription. So we have to revisit our selection policy. We have to revisit our collection policy. We should now stress or concentrate only those journals which meet our requirement. Instead of what they are offering, we have to say these are the things which we buy instead. Training and Chaddha I have mentioned, we have to do training and retraining on daily basis. There are a lot of new technology are coming, lot of new innovation are coming. So librarian has to learn every day, training and retraining. So we have to learn the new technology, we have to learn the new innovation so that we can provide the good contact or good information to the library. The reason behind it is, it is not the strongest of the species, Charles Darwin said, that survive, not the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. If we cannot change ourselves according to the new requirement of the new technology, I think it would be difficult for the librarian to survive. As Chaddha I have also mentioned that we cannot serve today users with yesterday techniques and expect that we would survive tomorrow. The library school has to
Dr. Kumar? Dr. Kumar? Can you hear us? Dr. Kumar?
Dr. Kumar?
I think there is some connection issues from his end. He's almost concluding.
Yes.
If there's something else he can input himself, input things later on. We can continue with the program so forth. Because he's not able to connect again.
I'm audible, ma'am. Now I'm audible.
Yes.
Yeah, sir.
I'm audible now.
Yes, sir. Conclude yourself. Conclude.
I'm sorry. Yes. And today's there is a news headlines in the newspaper. And this responsibility is not lying to the government only. This lying to the library profession and the librarian also. If we cannot connect ourselves with the user, I think it would be difficult for us to survive. As Dr. राहत इंदौरी जी का उनका ही बहुत बढ़िया शेयर है. Now we have to तूफानों से आंख मिलाओ, सैलाबों पे वार करो, मल्लाहों का चक्कर छोड़ो, तैर के दरिया पार करो. कि आप टेक्नोलॉजी को छोड़ दीजिए, थोड़ा बहुत इस्तेमाल कीजिए, लेकिन खुद भी कोशिश कीजिए दरिया पार करने को. फूलों की दुकानें खोलो, खुशबू का व्यापार करो. कनेक्ट योरसेल्फ विद द रीडर. गिव देम द गुड़ ना दो गुड़ जैसी बात तो करो. इस खता है तो खता एक बार नहीं 100 बार करो. कि अगर लाइब्रेरी से प्यार करना खता है तो एक बार नहीं बार बार करो. थैंक यू वेरी मच. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Your viewpoint has shed us new light on innovative methods for one and all. True sign of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination. On S.R. Ranganathan's birth anniversary, I wholeheartedly agree that 5 laws are still relevant, and just there is a change in the thought of imparting this information now as a part of our growth and our progress, which was inevitable. In fact, what I would like to say is that unlearn and relearn should be the new motto in today's current age. Moving on forward, I would now like Dr. P.R. Goswami to talk a few words. Dr. P.R. Goswami is a library professional based in New Delhi with more than 40 years of experience in the domain. He has a master's degree in library and information science since 1978 and a PhD in the same field from University of Delhi since 1995. He has worked in Central Statistical Office, Government of India, Faculty of Management Studies, University of Delhi, Indian Council of Social Science Research as Director of NASDOC, Ministry of Culture, Government of India as Director, Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts as Director, Library and Information. He is a member Governing Board DLNet and member of Technical Advisory Committee of Library and Documentation Unit of Indian Statistical Institute, Kolkata. Dr. Goswami, I would now please request you to share a few words of wisdom with us. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, Dr. Goswami, you're audible.
I am audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Now, we had a very nice session. We had 3 distinguished speakers, our old friends, Dr. S.M. Dhawan, Professor R.K. Chaddha, and my friend Narendra Kumar. They have given a very wide perspective of the future of the library and information science and librarianship in the country. My duty today is to say a few words about Ranganathan Research Circle, which in this webinar I am representing as a convener of Ranganathan Research Circle. And I want to bring it to the notice of our listeners that Ranganathan Research Circle was set up in 1993 by late Mr. Subbarao, who was formerly librarian of Indian Defence Studies Analysis, Indian Institute of Defence Studies and Analysis, and Indian Statistical Institute Delhi Center. He was a great researcher and great motivator, and due to his initiative, young professionals like me and some of the others who are holding very high position these days were trained in the field of library science as a speaker and as researchers. And Ranganathan Research Circle in those days of late 1990s organized a lot of monthly meetings as well as 2 annual conventions. One was Librarians Day, coinciding with the birthday of the great librarian of India, Dr. S.R. Ranganathan, an annual convention normally held in the month of January every year, mostly coinciding with the book fairs which are organized in Delhi's Pragati Maidan. And many top-level library professionals attended these events. Apart from this, Ranganathan Research Circle also motivated young professionals to attend their monthly meetings and speak on their subject of their own choice. RRC also published a monthly newsletter which contained proceedings of conventions and monthly meetings. And under the guidance of late C. Subbarao, RRC also took a few research projects sponsored by different government bodies. After Sri Subbarao's untimely death in 1998, the office bearers of Ranganathan Research Circle and his close associates continued academic programs of various promotional activities. And at present, some of the old functionaries of RRC, office bearers, are no longer in Delhi. So someone is staying in Bangalore, someone is in Pune, and somewhere these activities, we have to regroup them. And we are trying to revive the old glory of Ranganathan Research Circle. We propose to restart the RRC newsletter. We are also soliciting the cooperation of the young librarians. A nominal amount of ₹100 is now charged as the annual membership fee, which is of course optional. It is not compulsory for the persons who attend the RRC meetings. And with this brief introduction, now it is my duty to propose a vote of thanks, formal vote of thanks. First of all, I would like to thank Professor Nonki Ram, the head of the Department of Political Science and Dean Faculty of Arts of Panjab University, and Professor Preeti Mahajan was the chairperson of the Department of Library and Information Science, Panjab University, and our very senior professional, Dr. S.M. Dhawan, Dr. R.K. Chaddha, Dr. Narendra Kumar, and Dr. Jibesh Banshal, who is the librarian of Panjab University, and of course, the young librarian Neha Sethi, who has conducted the program very nicely. And with these few words, I again congratulate you and on this Librarians Day, and we believe that the library profession will prosper in the future. Though it is presently internet-dominated librarianship, as all our speakers have said, that we should not be dominated by the technology. We should see the librarians drive the librarianship, not the technology drives the librarianship in the future. With these few words, I now hand over the proceedings to the organizer, and we have finished time 2 hours and 10 minutes precisely. We have taken to finish this work. Over to Dr. Jibesh Bansal, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. If there is any question to the panelists, there is any observation of the panelists, and
yes, definitely.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable inputs and advice, Dr. Goswami. I would especially like to thank you because your words may hopefully come true. I'm currently still a student. I have not been set to a librarian level as of now. But hopefully whatever you said, without the interview and everything, it might work for me. Let's hope so. So there are no questions as of now. There are nothing in the chat as well. I have checked both of them. So anyone else from the panelists, if they have any questions for the speakers, then they can speak as of now.
So Neha, you have a question.
I think one,
yes,
Dr. Bansal.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mr. K.K. Bhatia wanted to say a few words. He's a trustee of the Ranganathan Research Trust.
Okay, sir. Okay.
If he is available, you can just
sir. Okay, sir. Neha, please change Dr. K.K. Bhatia to the panelist.
Sir, Preeti ma'am is the host. I'll request her.
Preeti madam.
Sir, he just sent me a private message earlier. I'll just check whether he's still in the participants or not.
Just a minute, Neha, just a minute.
Yes, sir.
We will wait for Professor Preeti Mahajan, and you can talk to her on. You can talk to her on the phone also. So I have a question. I have some observations. So I will share my observations, and then I will till you try to connect to Professor Preeti Mahajan. You try to connect to Professor Preeti Mahajan, yeah, so that we can change Dr. Bhatia to the panelist.
Sir, I have two panelists.
Okay.
Dr. Bhatia, can you hear us?
Tell him to unmute.
Dr. Bhatia, you'll have to unmute yourself.
भाटिया बोल रहा हूँ जो इस RRC में शुरू में साथ चला और चड्ढा साहब भी हमारे साथ रहे और सुब्बा राव जी की भी बड़ी मेहरबानी रही। हमने सिनर्स और सेंट्स सबका ध्यान रखा और 23 साल मैं घूमता रहा हूँ, 23 years। तो मैं ये चाहता हूँ डॉक्टर रंगानाथन को मैं बोलना चाहता हूँ, रंगानाथन मादरे हिंद के सपूत, रंगानाथन मादरे हिंद के सपूत, दुनिया में तेरा कोई सानी नहीं, जो कमाया उम्र भर कर दिया वो दान सब, तेरे जैसा कोई दानी नहीं। हाफ डे की लीव ली और वो भी मैरिज के लिए, कोई सुनी कोई कहानी नहीं, और लाइब्रेरी को बताया मोक्ष का द्वार, तेरे जैसा कोई तत्व ज्ञानी नहीं। आप सबका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि आपने मुझे ये टाइम दिया। मैं आप सबका चड्ढा साहब और ये अपने हुसैन साहब का बहुत बहुत मशकूर हूँ कि उन्होंने आज ये याद ला लिया कि तिहाड़ जेल के अंदर भी हमें सेवा करने का मौका मिला है। और बिब्लियोथेरेपी आई इंट्रोड्यूस्ड इन तिहाड़ प्रिजन। उसमें क्या था कि व्हाट इज द यूज ऑफ बिब्लियोथेरेपी मीन्स कि जो क्रिमिनल साइकोलॉजी है उसको कैसे चेंज किया जाए। तो मैं आप सबका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूँ और परमात्मा से प्रार्थना करता हूँ कि RRC चलती रहे और नौजवान जो हैं वो इसको आगे बढ़ाएं। बहुत बहुत हुसैन साहब, चड्ढा साहब, ये मैडम, आप सबका बहुत बहुत बंसल साहब का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the lovely song. It was really refreshing. And, just one question right now from one of the participants. She says she wants to create an online catalog. How can it be done for her library? Anyone can answer this question of the person. Whoever would like to shed some light, some simple way out for her to do so.
Now, what does it mean by online catalog? You have to create your own database. You have to link with the internet. So you have an online catalog.
So it's a very wide-end question. That is why I said that anyone who would like to.
You have to create a database and connect with the net. You will have an online.
That's true, sir. Any questions from any of the panelists, or anyone would like to add something, please?
Neha, I would like to add something.
Yes, sir.
My views to Dr. Dhawan sir. Recently,
I would like
yes, sir. One American consultant contacted me. What you have tell about this discovery services? You have heard of this Ex Libris software. What they are doing, they have collaborated with this. Ex Libris have collaborated with Summons and another discovery service. And now what they are doing, they are integrating this Ex Libris into a discovery system. Now, this discovery and the catalog library management system will not be two different entities. That discovery software will be automatically integrated into the ILMS. This type of research is going on, that American consultant, and they are also exploring this type of market in India. Because what happened, Ex Libris started their business in India, but their experience was not good. So they left the office because people have taken some trials and all that, but ultimately they didn't get the good business. But that American man was saying to me that we are again exploring the Indian market, and we will bring out a product that will be a collective, that will be a product like that the catalog, discovery system, and that will all be integrated into the one system. This is one of my observation. And we also had some Dr. Dhawan. Sir, we also have one program, and Professor Partha Sarthi Mukhopadhyay was the speaker. He is an open source enthusiast, and what he said to us that he is integrating this Koha and an open source software, Viewpoint, a discovery tool integration. He is working on that, and he's doing so many kind of integration, and the interoperability of this he's checking where on the interoperability issues also. And Dr. Sunita Barve from NCL Library was also the speaker in that program. And what you are talking about is what is the solution? These publishers are taking their own agenda on the mind regarding their business and not considering to the academic community. So how the these institutional repositories or open access repositories can can serve the purpose of these journals, etc. in the future. These are my observations, sir.
Javesh, what I would like to convey to you is the basic problem nowadays is that we have so many systems, but these systems are all systems in silos. You have one system for management of publications. You have one system for management of digital repositories. You have one system for searching your catalog. You have one system for searching your journal articles. So you have so many systems already. The problem comes when a user goes to the library, he has to search all these systems independently. And that is a source of big harassment. It's not a convenient way of searching information at one go, much like the way you search information in a search engine. The answer to this is that which I was hinting in my talk, that what we are lacking in our library management system, in library automation trends, is that we are not able to harmonize the metadata of all publications spanning different publication types. Harmonization of data is a big issue. Why it is a big issue? Because if we want to develop a database, and database has to search a structured data. What we want a structured data, for that we have to harmonize all the metadata of all the publication types. This is where we need to integrate, and this is where a lot of difficulties come. And what I was saying that in future we are going to get very good systems, very good library management systems, which will get over all these issues and problems. You will at one place get digital libraries access. You will get at one place access to pieces, access to articles, everything. But then this is just access and just search. But where is discovery in it? That is the issue. Now, discovery has two connotations. One connotation is that the technical connotation, and that technical connotation means that you search multi databases at one go from multi sites. That means I use web to search for one information, one query, for one query I search it. And I can connect to 10 different databases at one go. Then I am getting a discovery information. But then the other connotation of discovery is that you don't want information. You just want knowledge. The issue that I raise is that we have to integrate different databases. We have to harmonize metadata of all the different types. What is the way out? Who can give me the knowledge? If any system can provide you that information, then it's good enough. The problem is at the moment there is no database, no library management system, no library service platform that is available that can provide you this kind of service. There is only thing that you can get is the only thing that is there. Where a lot of research and where a lot of applications are being developed is to get key publications. In search engine, you might get 1,000 or 10,000 applications, but what are the key publications you need to search? This is where research is going on. And one trend is now bibliometrics is one field of study, and information retrieval system is another field of study. The two are getting integrated, harmonized, so that bibliometrics is going to enhance information retrieval. You can get key publications. This is another way of the information to your query, and this is an instance of this. This is my viewpoint. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. With this, we come towards the end of our program. We only grow by coming to the end of something and by beginning something else. So let's begin with the vote of thanks. I would request Professor Rupak Chakravarti to do the honors. Professor Chakravarti, please.
Thank you, Neha. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible and you're visible as well.
Thank you, Neha. At the very outset, I would like to express my deep sense of gratitude on behalf of all of us present here to Professor Ram, Dean Faculty of Arts, Panjab University, for sparing time from his busy schedule and gracing the occasion as chief guest. I thank you, sir, for your insightful remarks and essays. I thank Professor Mahajan, Department of Library Information Science, for introducing the theme, setting the course of today's event. Thank you, ma'am. I would like to report my sincere gratitude to the galaxy of learned speakers, Dr. S.N. Dhawan, former head, National Physical Laboratory, Library, New Delhi, Dr. R.K. Chaddha, former Additional Secretary, Parliament Library, Delhi, Dr. Narendra Kumar, University Librarian, University of Delhi, and Dr. Kumar Goswami, former Director, NASDOC, and convener, National Research Delhi, for enlightening us with their visionary discourses. The narratives propounded by today's prolific speakers have set the benchmark for the path of glory towards ascertaining the future of librarianship in the digital-driven era. Affirming the influences of Padam Shri Dr. S. R. Ranganathan's philosophy and contribution in LIS symbolize immortality. On behalf of the August gathering of the Department of Library and Information Science, C. Joshi Library, and Panjab University, I once again thank respected Ji, Dhawan Ji, Chaddha Ji, Goswami Ji, and Narendra Ji for delivering enriching and thought-provoking talks. The words of wisdom were thoroughly enjoyed by the participants and would serve as a source of inspiration. I congratulate and thanks Professor Puti Mahajan and Jivesh Bansal for organizing this event, remembering and celebrating our beloved Dr. S. R. Ranganathan. Thanks are due to our esteemed Vice Chancellor, Sir Professor Kumar, Dean of Instruction, Sir R.K. Singla, Dean Research, Professor Sinha, for motivating us and always encouraging us to hold meaningful academic events, engaging eminent speakers. Please join me in thanking the library professionals, department staff, students, and research scholars for their cooperation and involvement. My thanks are due to all the participants for their patience listening and making this event successful through their active participation. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. In fact, I was not able to join. She was just getting disconnected now and again. Now she's there. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, our eminent speakers, for everything. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. Thank you, Goswami, sir. Thank you, Dr. Chaddha. Thank you, Dhawan sahab. Thank you, Dr. Narendra. Thank you, Bhatia sahab. Bhatia sahab का गीत सुन के मजा आ गया सर आज.
Thanks everybody. Thank you.
हाँ जी, भाटिया साहब का गीत सुन के बहुत मजा आया सर आज.
थैंक यू जी. थैंक यू.
उनके गीत से पता लगता है किस तरह की डेडिकेशन लोगों में रही है सर प्रोफेशन को लेकर के.